This one's titled, thank you, in the beginning there's art. And the reason it's titled that is because when I get freshmen, and this year I have, I think 94, 95 freshmen. Well, Art 1 students who are freshmen and sophomore, but most of them are freshmen. And they really, most of them come in there without any kind of grounding in the arts, visual arts especially because of, well, because there's no grade school art teachers anymore. And if there are grade school art teachers, the kids are kind of rotated through so fast they do not get a grounding in the art. And you know, if you're building a house, you need a good foundation. So really I wrote this grant so that we would have money to have supplies so that we could build our foundation for art. And that involves the elements of art, basic. So you can hit the slide there. Learning and using the elements of art. That's what the grant provided the money for. And the kids then, I kind of introduced an element. And then well, first off, let me back up. I think you can turn it here if I've got it in here. I really like this analogy in this. Art is less abstract than learning a written language. And think about this. You're a kid. You're real young. You're learning. You will learn words eventually. But here you are. You can draw an apple probably easy. 2 years old, you can probably draw a recognizable apple or something that looks fruit-like, round. Learning to write A-P-P-L-E is a little bit more difficult than drawing an apple. So I want to just push this out there to say that sometimes we forget how important learning the basics are. And art is, in my opinion, of course I'm an art teacher, is a basic. First thing we did was kind of survey, just see where everybody was. And then we start there with the elements of art. This is our survey. Go for it. This is one of the elements of art. You can click it. Students producing using the element of line. Click it. Some more line drawings. Click it. So you can go through there pretty quickly. And now you can see that they're adding a little bit more than just lines. They're adding value. When you're building a house, you got to start out with footers, right? Start out by checking the ground. Start out with a line. Then you add the block or the concrete or whatever. You're building up. So value. This is what is so awesome. Eventually kids get, and here are 3 of my art students from last year, and they're still art students. But eventually, it's like everything else. If you build it correctly, one thing will lead to something else. And so, go ahead. They find out when they're adding value to line or to shape, which is another element of art, they're creating something that looks three-dimensional, which is form, which is another element of art. It all works together. Click it. Click it. Click it. Click it. You know, the really good thing, and a lot of times we forget this, when we're allowed to play, some of this is play, but it's also creating and it's also using materials and it involves money. All art supplies are consumable, and it's so hard to come up with. Click it. Okay, we'll pause there for a second. We actually, in one of my, pros and cons, one of my cons is my time management, not the kids, but me. We just started space, the element of space, the last couple of weeks, and so I don't have any pictures on there of that. One of my negative cons would be also the data here at the end, because we haven't done the survey yet to see how they compare from the beginning to now. I will tell you this, you can click it, that they have got better in their production of art. They're stronger. They put together pieces now in building their art or their house that is a lot better than when they came in. And that's the thing. That's the reason we did the grant, is to have the money for the supplies to offer them the materials to build their house. So click it. This right here, this is one of the pros we got to play with a couple of things that we normally don't play with and exposed to a few new media or materials to use. This is something that we just, me too, first time. It's called Polymer Clay. You see this at flea markets, and crafters use this all the time. You buy this clay, and you probably know, some of you, I'm sure, you buy it, you bake it in your regular oven, but you make all kinds of great little things with it. You can make earrings, you can make tie clips, you make keychains, but it's also an element of art. It's form, and they're using textures, they're using lines, they're using all these elements together to do these forms. But we just did this a couple of weeks ago, or last week, week before, and you can see they had a ball with this. And it's theirs to take home. Of course, it has to be baked and all that stuff, but... And this is not my quote, and it's not even, I don't know if it's Bob Ross's quote, because it seems like Pablo Picasso may have said it, someone, but I love this, and so I'm leaving you with this. Every day is a good day, right? And Bob says, if you paint, right? But every day is a good day for art, for me. I get to do what I love. I'm going a little bit, let me, I got time. Okay, some positives from this. I just wanted to share these with you, and then I will hush. So we made connections between the elements. Stronger art pieces. Students learned the foundation. Students had materials, used a few materials, and we were allowed to take our time, and that always helps. Sometimes, and I rush. You can ask my students sitting right there. I go in sometimes and I hit the ground running, and I expect them to do the same thing, and that doesn't work for everybody. The negatives, I kind of shared this already. My time management, we haven't completed the survey, we will. And that's the only negative I had there.